Good evening, seekers of the night. Welcome back to the quiet hour, that space between the noise of day and the silence of sleep where truth has room to breathe. I'm here with you, whether you're watching the miles pass, lying awake counting what you don't have, or simply wondering if you're chasing the right things. If this is your first time in our quiet corner, welcome. This is where we question what we've been taught to want. If tonight's story makes you reconsider everything, I hope you'll subscribe and continue this journey with us. Tonight, I want to tell you about David, his 12-year-old son Michael, and a weekend that shattered everything David thought he was teaching. David was a successful hedge fund manager in Connecticut. At 42, he had the house, the cars, the country club membership, all the markers of having made it. But lately, his son Michael had been acting entitled, complaining when the Wi-Fi was slow, annoyed that their beach house was smaller than his friends', taking everything for granted. So David planned a lesson. He had a college friend, Tom, who'd chosen a different path, moved to rural Vermont, bought a small farm, lived simply. David called him. "I want to show Michael how the other half lives," David said. "Teach him some gratitude. Can we come spend a weekend?" Tom laughed but agreed. That Friday, they drove 3 hours north. Michael slouched in the passenger seat, annoyed at missing his friend's plans. When they pulled up to Tom's property, a modest farmhouse, weathered barn, no gate, no security system, Michael looked around skeptically. "This is where we're staying. This is where we're learning," David corrected. Tom's family was waiting. His wife Sarah, there for kids ranging from 6 to 14, and a chaos of farm animals. No staff, no lawn service, just a family working their land together. That weekend, Michael collected eggs while Tom's kids showed him how to find the ones the hens hid. He helped fix a fence, getting his hands dirty for the first time in years. He ate dinner at a crowded table where everyone talked over each other, told stories, laughed at inside jokes. At night, without streetlights, he saw the Milky Way for the first time in his life. On Sunday, driving home, David felt satisfied. His son had seen poverty up close. Surely now he'd appreciate what they had. "So," David said, glancing at Michael, "what did you learn?" Michael looked out the window at the highway, then at his father. "We should visit them more often. They're so lucky." David nearly swerved. "Lucky? Michael, they live in a tiny house. They don't have half of what we have." "Dad," Michael said, turning to face him, and something in his voice made David pull into a rest stop. They sat there, engine idling, while his son spoke. "We have one dog that we barely see because we're always busy. They have 4, and those dogs actually know them. We have Rosie who comes twice a week to cook meals we eat separately, watching our phones. They cook together every night, and everyone sits at that table like it's the best part of their day." David opened his mouth to respond, but Michael wasn't finished. "We have that pool in our backyard that you had built 3 years ago. I've used it maybe 5 times. They have a river running through their property where those kids swim every single day in summer. We have our home theater, but they have that porch where the whole family watches the sunset together." Michael and Dad, Saturday night, when we were sitting outside and you and Tom were talking, I looked up and I could see everything. The stars, the Milky Way, all of it. At home, we have those security lights that stay on all night. We can't see any stars. We've never seen any stars. David felt something crack in his chest. "They know all their neighbors," Michael continued, his voice getting thick. "People just show up to help with stuff when they need something. They ask each other, not Amazon. And those kids, they ray not on their phones, because they ray too busy actually doing things together, building stuff, making things, being together." He looked at his father directly. "We have a house, but they have a home. We have money, but they have time. We have things, but they have each other. Really have each other." David sat there in that rest stop parking lot, expensive car running, and realized his son was right. He tried to show Michael poverty, but Michael had seen wealth David had forgotten existed. "When's the last time we watched a sunset together, Dad? When's the last time we spent a whole day together without you checking your phone? When's the last time we knew our neighbors' names?" David didn't have answers. That conversation changed everything. Not overnight, David didn't quit his job or sell their house, but he did start driving Michael to school instead of having the car service do it. They had dinner together at the kitchen table, phones in another room. They learned their neighbors' names. They started spending weekends at Tom's farm, not as a lesson, but as a reminder. And David learned what his son had seen immediately, that the prison he'd built around his family, the gates, the schedules, the endless pursuit of more, it was keeping out the very things that made life rich. Friends, what are you chasing tonight? What are you working yourself exhausted for? What are you measuring your life against? We've been sold a definition of success that might be bankrupting us in ways that matter more than money. The big house that separates us from community. The busy schedule that keeps us from presence. The security system that locks out spontaneity and locks in isolation. Michael saw it clearly. Because he hadn't yet been trained to confuse wealth with riches, he could see that freedom was more valuable than property. That a crowded table was richer than a gourmet kitchen. That a sky full of stars was worth more than a house full of screens. What would your 12-year-old self see if they looked at your life now? Would they think you were lucky, or would they wonder what happened to you? That's our question for tonight here on The Quiet Hour. What does wealth actually mean to you? Share below. And if you're new here, subscribe as we keep asking these uncomfortable questions together. Until tomorrow night, remember, you might be richer than you think or poorer than you realize. It all depends on what you're counting. Sleep well, drive safely, and maybe tomorrow look up at the stars. Good night, friends.